Saint Rene Goupil, 1608, 1642. He's a donné, so a given, a layman who wants to help the martyrs. And very short, as you can see, he arrives 1640, just after who? Marie de l'Incarnation. They're in Quebec. They're among them. He's a surgeon. He's a bit of one of the doctors of Quebec in these days. And in 1642, he's given as a companion to St. Isaac Jogues to go back to St. Mary of the Hurons with all these canoes. He's made prisoner with Isaac Jogues, William Couture, and the other Indians. He's tortured all the way down to Auriceville, but he didn't last very long. He lasted until September 29. So from August 2nd to September 29, so just less than 2 months, that was his weeks of captivity. He was staying with a man. He was a slave of this family. Again, he's not tied with chains, but he's living with them, and they don't want to escape. They want to stay with him. And he wanted to be a martyr. Anyway. And one day, the father is out hunting, and Rene Goupil is alone in the hut with the little boy, 4 or 5-year-old little boy. And so Rene Goupil, who also just knows a few words of the Mohawk language, well, I don't know how to speak, but I know what is the sign of a Catholic. The sign of a Catholic is the cross. They would carve crosses on the trees. And he's trying to, so he probably made a cross maybe on a tree, showed the little boy. And there, he's going to show the little boy how to make the sign of the cross. And he's there talking to the little boy, taking his hand like you do with a little child, the right hand, the head, and the name Father, and the Son, the left shoulders, and the right shoulder. And he's trying to teach the little Indian how to make the sign of the cross. While he's giving his little catechism lesson, the father walks in. He says, "You're not going to teach my religion to my boy." He takes his tomahawk and smacks Father Rene Goupil. Kills him right there. So, he's the saint among our saints, the saints of the sign of the cross. So, remember, when we make the sign of the cross, anytime your morning prayers all day long, evening prayers, before, after meals, make the sign of the cross. There's somebody who died here in our lands for just teaching how to make the sign of the cross. It's worth giving our life. And as you can see, he is the first, chronologically, he's the first of the Canadian martyrs, Rene Goupil. He died, he was 1608, he died, he was 34 years old, young man. He only spent from 40 to 42, 2 years in the missions. He got the palm of martyrdom. Second last, Jean de Lalande. Jean de Lalande, who came in 42, a bit later, again, 42. I think he was on the ship with Maisonneuve and Jeanne Mance. If you arrive in 42, there was one shipping every year. So the ship that left in May and arrived in August for the foundation of Ville-Marie, a number of them stayed in Quebec. Some went to, they arrived in 41. Montreal is May 42. So they were the next batch, okay? So, but he arrived in 42. Anyway, he witnessed, he knew it. Everybody was talking about it. Anyway, he stayed. Then he was sent to Three Rivers, which was eventually developed as a post. Small, though. It's not as big as Quebec and Ville-Marie, Midlands. But Three Rivers was the next one to start growing. And in 46, when Isaac Jogues was told to go and talk to the Mohawks in his peace mission, Jean de Lalande was given to him as a companion, made prisoner. Well, he was not prisoner, but they were like voluntary living in the midst of this danger of the danger of living with the Mohawks. And they knew, as we saw, they could be killed any moment. October 18, Isaac Jogues is beheaded. And the next day, October 19, Jean de Lalande was also killed in Henrisville. So we have three in Henrisville. Okay. First is Rene Goupil, chronologically, first trip of Isaac Jogues, and then the second trip, the two of them died one after the other, October 46. And the last two, this is the second last, Noel Chabanel. Noel Chabanel came late, as you can see. He arrived in 43. The next batch, the next shipping in 43. He spent some time in Quebec. And then he went to Huronia, where he stayed all along until December 8, where he was killed, December 8, 1649. I have to read you this passage because Noel Chabanel can really, really help you. 305. Noel Chabanel was, I told you, each of these 8 saints has something for each one of us. John of Brebeuf is the strength and gentleness. Isaac Jogues is the nervous athlete and also very fine writer. The stories of Isaac Jogues are heartrending, as when you read that story. It's just so moving. Charles Garnier is Our Lady. Rene Goupil is this desire to shed your blood for God. Rene Goupil is also the sign of the cross. Jean de Lalande, the companion of a saint. Okay. Noel Chabanel, who's a priest, from a high-class family, raised in aristocratic French society. He had the desire of the missions, and in the 1630s, 40s, the desire of the mission is to go to New France. That was the mission land. Just like today for the Society of St. Pius X would be, send me to Asia. And even to India, that would be the toughest. So Noel Chabanel has these great aspirations. And when he arrives in Quebec, he hears the stories. So he's in 43, St. John of Brebeuf is in Quebec. He will go the next year, and they will go together. So they'll be close friends. And St. John of Brebeuf is telling him all what's going on. Okay, so he's learning the language, everything, the Huron language. And then, I would say, he hits reality. The real Huron life. Listen to this. This is, martyrdom is not always like John of Brebeuf being, roasted slowly under the fire and beheaded and burnt and all these things. He arrives in Huronia, and everything that he experienced disgusted him. Everything is horrible. They stink. And don't forget, you're living with them 24 hours a day. You cannot, if you go out, they'll be following you. Where are you going? Okay. They stink. They stink. Their promiscuity. They're curious. They want to see what you're eating. They want to see what you're doing. You cannot even go to the bathroom alone. They're following you everywhere. They and in the middle of these long huts, so they have this pot where they're cooking things, and you're there, you're hungry, they're cooking some venison or whatever, and then They come and grab something and they spit in the pot. Okay? The dogs comes around and they eat out of the pot as well. Okay? And you're going to have to eat this. Yeah. You know? He's trying to learn the language. He who is good in Latin and Greek and very good, beautiful French of the 17th century, he just cannot remember the words. It will not register. I can't learn that language. Saint Théophane Vinard, when he was 200 years later, when he arrived in Hong Kong in 1850, he was told he's going to China. He said, I don't want to go to China. I want to go to Vietnam. He said, you're going to China? Yes, Father. I'm very happy to go to China. Okay? He spent a year learning Chinese. He says, doesn't go in. Can't learn Chinese. A whole year, he could barely speak Chinese. And just before he left, oh, Father, change of plan. You're going to Vietnam. He learned Vietnamese in 3 months. 3 to 6 months, he could speak Vietnamese. You know, there's a certain affinity with certain languages. But Noel Chabanel could not learn the Huron language. And the sounds, the grossness, the vermin, full of lice, they come to you. They never wash for months. They don't wash. Okay? And I tried to go outside and wash when it's minus 30. Okay? And everything. They're sleeping next to you. And so his big temptation was to give up. And you can be sure the devil was telling him, you want to be a priest. If you went back to France, their mother country, you could say Mass in this beautiful chapel, have a beautiful choir, you know. And you could teach the others how to be a missionary because you've seen it now. And teach them and then start putting, you know, the beautiful world of France compared to this living in a dump, eating in a dump, sleeping in a dump, freezing, burning, mosquitoes. And he made a special vow. Well, Chabanel made a special vow to die in the mission. I know that's my temptation. I'm disgusted. I want to go home and I'm going to stay here until I die. They call that in the spiritual life, agere contra. Do the opposite. Fight back when you have a temptation. It can happen in a marriage. It can happen in any vocation. We want to quit. Noel Chabanel, among the Canadian martyrs, is the saint who did not quit when he had all the reasons to quit. Everything. I'm not learning the language. I'm sick of everything here. I just can't take it anymore. I'm going to stay here. Oh. And finally, the last, Saint Gabriel Lalemant. You can see he was not very long either. He arrived in 46. He arrived. He spent most of his time in Quebec. And then his brother was also a priest. He was superior of the mission for a while. There's Jérôme Lalemant and Gabriel Lalemant. So he's Gabriel. And in 48, he is sent to Huronia to be with Saint John of Brebeuf with the others. It's getting hot over there. Father, you go. And he became the companion of Saint John of Brebeuf. And he was with him in St. Louis when 1,000 Iroquois arrived and surrounded the village. He too was stripped, and they walked to Ignace II, and that's where he was tortured. So he witnessed the tortures of St. John of Brebeuf from about 2 to 6, early afternoon till evening. And then when they were done with him, then they turned to him. When they were done with John of Brebeuf, they turned to Gabriel Lalemant. And he who had been he just arrived over a year in the village, he had one of the longest seances of torture in one shot. They say it's from about 6 p.m., just when it's getting dark. This is March 17, until early morning, all night. Like they did with John of Brebeuf, burning, chopping. And at the end, they cut, I think, his whole rib cage open, not a word of complaint, It's for us. They died for the people who would live in this land. That's for us. So, yeah, focus un petit peu. Focus a little bit. Okay. Now I want to show something. Here in this this painting, can we switch off the light? Can we switch off this light? Okay. Okay, well, a little bit. So, in this drawing, here we have the name of all 8, and we also have the séance of their torture. Can we switch off this light? Okay, 1 second.
Underneath.
Okay. There, okay. So, you have, if we will start from the right, okay? So we have the names. Well, Antoine Daniel, Rene Goupil, Father Jog, Father de Brébeuf, Father Garnier, Lalemant, Jean de Lalande, and Chabanel. So we have Father Daniel's over here. He's wearing a surplice near his chapel. And the chapel is on fire. So it's being burnt when he's trying to baptize. And I think he's hit by an arrow at the moment he's trying to baptize somebody. Okay? Antoine Daniel. Here we have Rene Goupil, who's lying on the ground because he was teaching the sign of the cross, perhaps to these kids who were nearby. Yes, okay. Rene Goupil. He's in, there again, okay. I may be mistaken. So Rene Goupil is the one who actually became a Jesuit brother, and Jean de Lalande is in lay clothes. Okay, so here's Father Jog, who's entering the hut, and the soldier is going to kill him with a tomahawk. They say they're nice, and actually they're waiting for him. Father de Brébeuf is standing right here. Here's the pillar, and you can see his chest, the fire, the boiling water, the axe, the head hatchets, everything they're doing to torture him. Next to him here is Saint Gabriel Lalemant, who's next to him. We have Charles Garnier is over here. He's also killed by tomahawks. Over there we have Noel Chabanel, who is killed in the woods near Lake Simcoe. We have some faithful who live, and last September some of our priests found the place. There's a cross. I have not seen it yet. Next time I go over there, I want to go and see this place. There's a monument where this is where he was killed. Noel Chabanel, the man who would not give up. Noel Chabanel. And finally, Jean de Lalande, who's here. Jean de Lalande, who was killed after, where was St. Isaac Jogues? St. Isaac Jogues is there. Jean de Lalande is there. So the 3 who died in the U.S., Jean de Lalande, Isaac Jogues, Rene Goupil. The 2 laying are the lay brothers, or layman donné. The other 6 are priests.
There's 8 Canadian martyrs?
8. 6 priests, 2 non-priests. Okay. Great, man. Any questions? Yes. Okay. Any question? Okay. So do include them in your prayer life. Do you can take a picture afterwards if you want to. Yeah. Do invoke them. Do know their names by heart, all 8. You can regroup them. It's easy. Do know a little bit of their lives. But if you come to Quebec City, we can see the skull of St. John of Brébeuf. Half of his skull is there, half is in Midland. If we go to Midland in September to the pilgrimage in the Shrine of the Martyrs, we can see St. Mary of the Huron, which they reconstructed. We can see many of the relics of the 6 who died in Huronia. And if we go to you go to Messina, I go to Arisville, Albany, we can go and pray at the place of the three, Rene Goupil, Isaac Jogues, Jean de Lalande. Rene Goupil, sign of the cross, okay? Isaac Jogues, and Jean de Lalande, the companion of Rene Goupil. And there you are.